Hello, I'm James Harvey, the professor of music theory at the College of Southern Nevada with 5-Minute Music Theory, and this video is going to be about another type of seventh chord, which is the diminished seventh. It has a few different names, in fact. Diminished, I should probably spell it right. Diminished seventh. Sometimes referred to as the fully diminished seventh. That's because there's also a half diminished seventh, which we'll cover in the next video. And it is built by creating a diminished triad and a diminished seventh. So we're going to have a lot of accidentals in these seventh chords. And this does naturally occur. It's the diatonic seventh chord in a minor key, as long as we have the leading tone raised. We're going to use a C as the example root, as we have for all of the others. So we start by building a C diminished triad, which is C, E flat, G flat. There's our diminished triad. The triad needs to be diminished in a diminished seventh chord. And then from C, we need to have a diminished seventh, specifically the interval of the diminished seventh, which would be to B double flat. So the thing that makes this fully diminished, or this diminished seventh, and you see I put the two Ds, is because the triad is diminished and the seventh is diminished in this chord. So if you construct a chord that has a diminished triad and a diminished seventh, it's always going to be a fully diminished seventh chord. I'll call them either diminished sevenths or fully diminished sevenths. I sort of go back and forth between those two. Just a little quick sort of interesting note about the diminished seventh chord, and this is similar to the augmented triad if you saw that video. If I put a diminished seventh chord here on the keyboard, I marked a diminished seventh chord, in fact the C diminished seventh that we just built, it equally divides the octave into minor thirds. The augmented triad equally divided the octave into major thirds. The fully diminished seventh chord is the only other chord that actually divides the octave completely equally into equal parts. It slices it into 4 parts when the augmented triad sliced it into 3 parts. So again, I've said it already, but let's just quickly summarize. The diminished seventh, sometimes known as the fully diminished seventh, is a diminished triad and a diminished seventh from the root. Thanks.